Hola, I'm Lucy Doughty, and in this new episode of Conversation Loves, we will build love stories with the renowned event planners and founders of Robbins, Otoya. From Miami, Matthew Robbins and Luis Otoya create destination weddings in different parts of the world. As they themselves say, we work with love.
Hola, Luis.
Hola, Lucy.
Hola, Matthew.
Hola, how are you?
How is your Spanish getting along?
It's getting better.
Getting better?
I'm just distracted by all the French that we have to speak when we're in France. I should be focusing on my Spanish, but I've learned a lot over the years, which
Over
is
the
good.
years?
Especially when
When the
we're with
family.
family. That's
Oh, for sure. Of
that's a big
course,
one.
of
Yeah.
course.
The
yeah.
annoying thing is I understand pretty much everything, but I'm too shy often to like try to start
You have to let it
speaking.
be.
Just have to
Just
go
let it
for
out.
it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you'll be
So-
the Gloria version of the English version, right?
Oh, yeah,
exactly,
perfect.
for a change.
I know
no?
for a change, you're like, finally. That's
And like
great.
if Sofia Vergara has been so successful with her accent, he can do the same.
He can do the
True.
same,
With
of
the
course.
English.
100%.
That's funny, the Spanglish. Oh, that's cute.
So Matthew, you coming from an art and design background
Yep.
and creating the most beautiful weddings for the past decades, and then meeting up with Luis, who is just always were doing the most amazing banquets and catering,
Exactly.
and the two of you have met and created such an amazing couple designing dream weddings. How did it all start? I want to know about that strike.
The strike.
The strike, the
The
magic
strike.
moment. Long story short, like I flew down to Cartagena to meet a group there hosting a big conference. They invited several of us from New York City, so I went with a few colleagues. And Luis was also a speaker at this. It was a conference for South American wedding industry.
Yeah, it was called
Yeah.
Cartagena Bridal Week.
Bridal Week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like-
Or Tendencias. no?
Tendencias,
Yeah.
Cartagena
Tendencias?
Bridal
Yep.
Week. Yeah.
It was cool. Yeah, so I went there. I was, just like planning to attend the event, and I met Luis for like a hot second. Running through the hall, we said hi, but
It was
like,
definitely hot.
we moved on. Exactly, it was Cartagena, so it was definitely hot. Very hot. So it was quick hi, and then that was that, and then maybe you should mention
and
that.
my catering company, we were hosting the big welcome party, like the social aspect of the conference, and obviously all the speakers were invited, and we also hosted a small event, private event for the international speakers at an island outside of Cartagena, and
That was fun.
that day Matthew said that he wasn't coming. And
I didn't feel good, so I was like, I'm staying at the hotel.
And
Oh, okay.
And I took the phone and just like
Went
phoned,
for it.
Yeah, I phoned the hotel.
It's a proper Latino.
Yeah, proper
He's like,
Latino. Phoned the hotel.
He's like, "You're
Well,
coming."
but here nothing. I mean, there was no interest beyond like making
Okay.
sure that I was showcasing Colombia and
You've been a good host.
right,
Very good
being a good host.
Yes.
So I phoned the hotel. I'm like, I need to speak to Matthew Robbins. Please connect me. Blah blah. Blah. They connected me, and he's like, oh, I'm not feeling that great. I really don't want to do this. I'm like, well, get ready and come to the marina. You have a car waiting for you in the lobby. And
It's good.
and he ended up showing up. So we had an amazing day out in the Rosario Islands,
We did.
enjoying, right?
We did, and like, it sounds so silly because we're in the business of creating
love?
magic and love, and for people celebrating love. I never believed in love at first sight, but it truly was that. Like,
So it did happen.
It
See,
did.
so it does happen, love at
I know
first
it
sight.
sounds like too good to be true, but it really happens because
I'm a believer.
We
I'm a believer,
connected
yes.
like it was more like a look and something inside that you just feel, even though you don't really know that person all that well. You feel a connection that you've never felt before, and we
You feel the
did.
warmth.
And
Yeah.
it was also
Right?
the first time
Yeah.
that we connected on a personal level.
Yeah.
Because before, even though we had been introduced, at the events and at the conferences,
Yeah.
and I had attended his conference and he had attended mine, and
Yep.
we were just, it was just the business side of things, but here we connected on a personal level, and it was just truly magical.
It was.
And it just worked.
I mean, I will say a funny thing before that. Love at first sight. His cocktail party that he hosted for the New Yorkers and everyone coming, I decided that I would be brave and try to like go chat with him. But like, of course.
So you launched yourself.
I basically like tripped into a fountain, like making my way, and then
That just made him say, okay, that's mine.
exactly, and I fell into a good friend of mine who caught me, so that was good. Yeah, but yeah, that was.
And then after that, I mean, after that connection, I was like, let me show you more of Cartagena, and we had a great time, like just the two of us. It was not a group anymore. It was just the two of us, kind of like, walking downtown Cartagena and looking at, handcrafts, and he was interested in, the art. And so, we had a great short time. He invited me out to dinner, and I said no.
Okay.
I was afraid that this was
kind of hard to get.
Yeah, this was going too
wow.
quick, right? I was like, maybe not. But I made sure to get him a great reservation with one of our friends, colleagues, and he had a great time. And then we said our goodbyes the next morning when he was leaving Cartagena, right? And then it felt real, like, oh shit, what just happened, right? Like,
No, I remember a friend saying at the airport, like, are we going to talk about the fact that you're leaving your heart in Cartagena? Like, I see it. She's
amazing.
Like, it's like this energy, like, just, it was crazy. And I had never experienced that, so, yeah.
So then from there, how did it take you, coming from the catering business, having such a large business in Colombia, and then you being in America, to create Robbins Otoya, which now has become such an amazing catering, planning, full dream wedding company. Very high end, by the way.
Thank you. We try. No, but I mean,
we just tell you that love does not come in cheap.
Exactly. Love takes work and money. Right? Exactly. That's funny.
So essentially, when Matthew and I met, my company in Colombia was already taken off with events and weddings and planning.
But then you moved to the States.
So I had already I had already a division to the company. It did start like catering only catering, which is I think the way that I found into being able to express my creativity and art, I guess. In a country in a country and a society that at the time was very tough, being a gay man.
Of course,
right?
yes, that's another point.
It was a very weird thing to say, like, I'm a male wedding planner.
Right.
In Cartagena.
In Cartagena.
Of course, yeah.
So it was kind of like the step that I took to actually find, my true passion, which was, creating these beautiful moments for our clients. So after us meeting, we started meeting everywhere in the world.
London.
Matthew was traveling.
homes.
Matthew was traveling for work. Doing destinations already, and I was also traveling, doing destination work with Pro Colombia. So on a more corporate level, but like just bringing all the Colombian gastronomy and showcasing it in the world, doing events with different entities. So we started meeting in Guatemala, in Miami, in London, New York, then Cartagena, and this was like 6 months of like
just after meeting.
Yeah, traveling,
trying to see each
other every 10 days.
So it's like serendipity.
Yep. And then
it was crazy.
In one of those visits, I came to New York, and that visit started to extend and extend and extend.
It was like months.
As you do.
As you do, right.
And I had a company down there, right, that I had to go back to.
Exactly.
And
compromises. And especially when your kind of company requires of your own presence.
Yeah, totally.
It requires for you to be there.
You bring the magic to the equation, right? Like it's
true. You have to have your hands in it.
That magic. So Matthew, very, I wouldn't say it was a full proposal, but it was a very casual proposal, but he, at that point, said, just stay here, do you want to marry me? Like, literally, and this was like so early on in the relationship that I said no. I said no. I think...
Well, for someone who was not a believer, he was very straight to the point.
I know, exactly.
So I said no. I said no, but I said I think we should...
we should
be together for a longer period
explore
of time.
This.
See how it goes.
Right? See how it goes. Get to know each other.
So we started living together at that point, which was actually very quick. I think it was like only eight months into the relationship, and we started living together. And this is when we're like, okay, we are together, we live together, and I think that we're gonna give it a shot to work together.
Yes,
right?
To work together. Yes.
Together.
Because that's one of the main questions, right? That marriages, when they're together and they work together, how long would it last? Or does it actually work?
And it
seems that for both of you, it does work.
It works. It works for many reasons, I think. I mean, one of the reasons is that our business takes us all around the world constantly. So if we weren't together, it would be quite sad because we would never see each other.
each other.
We never see each other.
And we also bring very different things to the equation when we're planning events. So that's also a really nice thing. It's very balanced, I think.
It's interesting because we bring very different perspectives to the table. And I think that
Yeah.
our clients truly appreciate that. You know, Matthew's, you know, the dreamer and like, you know, and then I'm
More the settler.
I'm more the settler. I'm
I
more,
can see that.
Yeah, I'm more
He's much more like, let's talk
I'm
about
more
the
like,
real
let's-
things.
let's talk
And I'm
about
like,
what
let's
can
talk
real
about all
happen.
the pretty things.
Yeah, Matthew's like, all the beautiful. I'm like, okay, how are we creating the beautiful, right?
Right,
Let's
right,
put
Yeah,
that- put
how
it
are we
down
getting to
paper.
the beautiful? Yeah.
So I think the dynamic works.
Yeah.
And
So when a couple comes to you so far, what has been like the one proposal where you feel has the most wildest dreams of your creations that has to be made?
Oh gosh, that's a good question.
good
Because you do so many destination weddings,
Yeah.
right?
Totally.
But like in
Yeah.
the settings, you know, where you go, where things are so difficult, but you just have to make it.
I mean, sometimes it's requests that might not sound crazy to
Like
to the general public,
general
but
public, yeah.
understanding what it entails to produce,
do
it's
it.
kind of nuts.
Yeah, it's something different,
You know,
isn't it?
so
Exactly.
sometimes you know you're in very tough locations to produce, like you know Portofino that has like such tiny roads and like you have to helicopter things in, like you know.
Well, we did
in
an
order to
event
build
recently, and it was all done with a crane.
cranes to build, you
Like,
know,
like literally every
tenting
chair,
and-
every pillow, every. it was a-
Cranes, because they
yeah,
were so high up.
Crane- yeah,
yeah,
so it's
and no access. So,
No
yeah.
no
access.
access,
For 200 people.
very limited, you know, places
Yeah.
with very limited,
Yeah.
you know, capabilities. And for example, we did a wedding in like in the middle of the desert in Morocco, where
Yeah.
there's just sand. So you know, you're building restroom facilities, you're building kitchens, you're building you know, no running
Lounges,
water, lounges.
And you're praying for that night not to have a sandblast.
Exactly.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, but we had some wild requests.
Yeah, for sure. Doing a wedding in Japan was really wonderful because it was for a Japanese client and understanding like
The culture
what they
and what they
expect
like.
from a wedding. And they were a young couple, so the older folks were a little bit confused by what they wanted. But it was a cool balance,
Yeah.
you know, learning. But the requests are sort of all over the place. I remember, I mean, we've had so many from.
But
do you follow like trends, or do you actually follow what the couple dreams are and then you adjust it to what you can create? How does that actually work? Because there's so many trends as
I know.
well.
We're very, like, I would say we're very, like, anti-trend, and because we find the trends to be the things that you don't want to have to look back in 5 years after your wedding and go, oh my God, why did I do that? Like, it's not going to, it doesn't have a lot of time. So generally we generally start with, like, kind of cultivating and editing and curating a vision that we sort of extract from our clients. And that's usually pretty broad and general because they don't have much at that point. They're just kind of like, I know I like this and that. And we kind of take all that, formulate a vision that we present to them. And then once they say, like, this feels really good, then our job is to then make that happen in
To
the best
process
way
it and
possible.
create it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if it's trendy, that's not what we're going for.
Okay.
Right? Like
Right.
we always steer away from, or we're creating the trend, right? That's
Yeah.
more important. Like we are normally the people
You're
that
like a
are-
trailblazer,
correct.
right?
Yeah, exactly. We're the ones behind creating new experiences that then become like other people want to replicate
and be in that
replicate,
trend.
Correct.
And I feel like you know this so well with what you do, but, like, there's such a difference between what's innovative and what's trendy.
Of
So-
course, yeah. You want something
And,
that's
like,
transitional and lasts
Exactly.
forever,
Correct.
or just
Yeah.
a spot of the moment,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
that's-
timeless.
So once you do all this and you do these timeless weddings and beautiful weddings, by the way,
Thank
how
you.
then you do translate that into love?
Mm.
For that couple.
Like the business side, it
The
turns
business
into,
side
like,
of it.
yeah. That's a really good question because such a huge challenge in what we do is that it's not just business, it's love. And it's happiness, it's celebration, there's all this emotion tied to it.
A lot of emotion.
A ton
Like,
of emotion.
Yeah,
Like a lot of emotion,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it's an
Yeah.
emotional moment.
family
it's a
dynamics
personal,
and-
yeah,
yeah.
personal.
Politics, everything, it's amazing. And you just never know what each family's bringing to the table, and all of that is fascinating. But I think, like, for us, what I found interesting is the love piece happens when our clients really connect with what it is we're talking about and building. They have, like, a real personal connection, and we're telling a story that is authentic to them and to their lives. And whether that's in Italy or France or Spain or wherever, it's like for some reason all the details come together to create this story that feels like a celebration of their relationship.
And sometimes clients come with, let's say, a location in mind that is meaningful to them.
Yep.
That's a starting point, right? But not everyone has that in their life. So
True.
it also means, and I can think of a very recent example of someone might, have a memory of their life that is truly meaningful, of like spending summers, for example, like by a lake with their family, and and perhaps the wedding can't happen at that specific
place.
location, but we are there to help them find and recreate that feeling and moment that can take them back to that special place as a family. Does that
And
make
then
sense?
do you also have, oh, it definitely
Yeah,
does.
right?
Yeah, of course,
Yes.
of course. Yeah,
Because
you're-
not everyone has, I go to Italy every summer with my family, so X location is,
Yeah, but also you would know already with so many destination weddings made, what is the most romantic, or what will give
Exactly.
you more
What
that
give you
feel
that.
of what they're
of
actually
what
looking
they're looking
for.
for. Correct. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
they
can
might have an
think of-
idea, and then you just divert it into something else.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like I can think of one example from last year, a wonderful client who all she had to say was like, her mom's side is from the Philippines, her father is from Poland, so very different worlds, but she grew up with a lot of Europe, but a lot of the Philippines, and she was like, I want something that has that Spanish colonial kind of crumbly vibe that you see in the Philippines, but I also want the sophistication of Europe. She's like, I don't know what to do.
And then you have to be politically correct.
Guess where do we go?
That too.
Can you guess where
Oh
we
yeah,
go?
you might know because you
Within
know all
Europe.
the places.
Within Europe,
Spanish colonial,
Spain.
tropical.
You would go to Spain.
Yeah.
You
And
would
we
go to
ended up-
Sevilla?
We ended up
Yeah,
in Sevilla.
exactly.
Yeah.
Of course.
So,
Yeah.
that's kind of
And it was
a great
perfect.
example.
Yeah,
Matthew.
it was tropical and it had the crumbly factor and like all that stuff.
well,
like,
Sevilla rounds it up totally.
Yeah, and
Right.
then we
If you
and
want
then we
the
brought
two.
in
Yep.
we brought in to Sevilla, a Filipino chef who took care of the rehearsal dinner.
Yep.
It
was amazing.
It was amazing.
A Kamayan feast.
A Kamayan style feast.
Yeah. It was really nice.
Wonderful.
And all the outfits, that must be stunning.
So
Stunning.
beautiful.
Right?
It was cool, but like you could see the joy, like that. Like she was like, like this is our life and our love being celebrated.
Oh, and they
It
had
was
never
very
been to
cool.
Sevilla before.
Oh, they have not.
Yeah,
She
so
didn't
it's,
know it at all.
So it's
Yeah.
Well, they rely on
Yeah.
you, right?
Yeah,
They rely on you
exactly.
to create that magic.
exactly. So
But that's the cool part about what we
Yeah.
do. I can think of one couple that wanted to get married in Montana, and then we ended up taking them to Mallorca. So it's like, at the end of the
Well,
day,
things change, they
yeah,
shift.
Exactly.
Well, they
Yeah.
wanted natural. They wanted to be surrounded
Natural
by,
beauty.
They thought they wanted to be in nature, but what they were really looking for was a natural beauty backdrop.
Like
so
to
like
look
they
at
wanted
something
nature in
beautiful.
the backdrop
In
of
the
their
surroundings.
ceremony, in the surroundings,
And in their pictures.
Yeah.
And Mallorca provided that.
It
right?
provides everything.
Yeah,
True.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
they realized that they didn't really need to be like in
Montana.
In Montana to have
Or
that.
Yellowstone, for that
Exactly,
matter.
Exactly.
Because we were asking, well, why do you want to be here for your wedding? Oh, we love to hike together. I'm like, yes, but your guests are not going to go on a hike with you. So let's think about that experience and what you're going to give to them that sort of represents what you love.
Yeah.
It was
So out
cool.
of all the marriages that you do and all the dream creations of love that you do, what would you say in today's world when there's such a high index on divorces?
I know, it's tough. And we definitely see some of our clients, like their relationships end in divorce, unfortunately.
But I think
Yeah.
it's a very small,
small percentage.
At least
Percentage?
we do follow up with, keep our clients.
Keep in touch.
Keep in
yeah.
touch with our clients, and we find that not many actually end in divorce. Probably, as Matthew mentioned, some do. It's part of life, right? But yeah, it's a small
yeah.
percentage. I wouldn't know exactly what percentage, but I would say that it's a minority.
Do you
It's a
think it has to do
minority.
also with the fact that you both relate so much when it comes to love and self-love?
For sure.
Like when you're actually creating that dream for that couple
Yep.
and what the value of marriage and love is, and you both represent that, and that it can work together?
No, for sure.
sure.
I mean, that's something that I think we've connected deeply with some of our clients on, and they love that we come to the picture as a married couple, and we understand that like being married and being in love, there's all the pretty, but it takes a lot of work. So, and I think the work part is like we get that, but not everyone understands that until they're really deep into a marriage. And that part is kind of fascinating.
And I think
Yeah.
that our clients connect with us on an early stage, and actually us being a married couple, planning and designing and
Yep.
producing for a marriage, for a future marriage, is something that our clients find special.
Special,
And
yeah.
there's a special dynamic when two individuals that are a unit
Yep.
are actually
100%, yes.
creating this kind of magic and putting it forward at your wedding celebration.
Well, yeah, because we also get into opinions at the same
Exactly.
time, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very different perspectives.
Very different,
Yeah.
completely. And from different culture, different angles, also different backgrounds.
Exactly.
Which is also, thank you for bringing that up, Lucy,
Different
because
cultures.
different cultures is super important. We see a lot of our clients, it's actually bicultural weddings. So we understand
always,
that we are,
yeah.
you know,
The proper example.
Exactly, the proper example
Of two very different
bicultural
worlds.
marriage.
Yep.
You know, and so it is very important. And I think that we do bring an important perspective to the table, and I think that people do connect with us early on. People that are really looking for like a meaningful, heartful
Story.
Story, yeah.
Yeah, because you're in charge of that storytelling,
Yep.
right?
One of our
You're the
clients
writers of that
actually, yeah,
storytelling.
exactly. I thought you would appreciate one of our clients did reach out recently to say that they happened to divorce, but it was very cute because the bride in this scenario, she said, "Yeah, but I feel great because I know you guys are going to do the next one, which will be the right one." So I thought that was charming because she was hopeful and like, yeah, I understand that maybe wasn't the marriage, but there's another one waiting for me that will happen.
Yeah, the grass is greener somewhere
Exactly.
else.
Yeah.
You weren't happy there, you can still
You'll
be
find
happy later.
happiness, right?
Right?
Exactly.
So what is the meaning of love?
Whew, that's a tough one for the two of us.
Of course,
Okay.
considering that you're working so hard with love,
Mm,
you know, you
No,
have
it's true.
your meaning of love could come, you know, from your self-values, from your self-love, from a budget, from, I mean, at the end of the day, you're working on destination weddings, you're creating things.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, what is the meaning of love?
wow, that's a big question, but a good one.
I mean, I think that there's so many factors that go into the answer to that question. I think that one of the most important aspects of love for me would be, you know, respect and admiration. I feel that admiring the person that is beside you every day is extremely important. I think the moment that you stop admiring that person, something's off.
Something's off. Yeah.
Something's off. I think that
Yeah, with admiration comes with respect.
yeah. So I
That
think that
follows.
those
true.
two things are extremely key, at least from my perspective of
I agree,
you know
yeah.
what true love means.
Yeah, and I think for me, when I really reflect on what love means, like love, it's such a big, big thing, and not all of us get to have a lot of it in our lives. But for me personally, when love is real, love is easy. Like
It should be comfortable.
it's like this beautiful, warm embrace that like it wraps you, it takes care of you. Like, and I know
you can
when
be yourself.
exactly when we met, like I felt seen in that way, and I had never felt that, and maybe that's
That's
what
very
that-
important. You felt seen.
yeah, and recognized as like that energy was there, and it was there for me, and I had never experienced that, and I was like, that's what people talk about. I think with love at first sight, it was that beautiful embrace of just the energy. That above all for me is probably what love is. Now I'll get like teary. I still cry. I still cry at weddings.
Oh, we do. We both do.
It's like so
we both
funny.
do,
Yeah.
especially during
Yeah.
and normally it's the walk down the aisle.
It
like
still
it
gets me.
always gets
Which
us,
I guess
yeah,
it's a
yeah.
good thing
It's a good
that-
thing. We definitely
You're such
feel.
you're a dreamer,
Yeah,
right?
definitely-
You're a dreamer.
And it's
definitely
that fresh
feel it.
start for
Of
everyone, right?
course.
Or a new beginning.
Now you
and,
had
like-
to plan your wedding. Let's say you guys just met and you're taking it slow, and now you are both coming from, you know, the whole
Yeah.
thing of wedding planning and catering and your culinary art.
Exactly.
Like, how would you actually envision and wear your wedding?
If we were to do
Today.
it all over again,
Yes.
yes.
If it wouldn't be like so fast.
Oh, okay. If we had like a good year to plan it.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
But we honestly, we did not get married as fast.
True.
We tried living together, right, for
Yeah.
a bit, and then we didn't do our wedding celebration until like 2 years
Later.
after. So, you know, we had time to plan. Actually, we didn't do it before because we didn't have time. We were so busy with
So
our,
busy.
with our clients' weddings that we didn't have time to do our own. But I think that perhaps, I mean, it was a very special,
Yep.
meaningful wedding for us. It was in Cartagena.
A little island.
And I think we did it in a very special way for us where
Yep.
we allowed the parents to include everyone that they wanted on an event prior to the
It
wedding.
was like their event.
But the wedding itself, we curated that list from people that had been truly special to us during our relationship, which at the beginning was not the easiest relationship. There was long distance. There was like, shifting from one country to the other. Merging.
Yeah, it was a big, it was
everything.
Professions,
stressful.
companies.
Of course, yes,
everything, right?
Yeah.
So it was a very interesting concept to define that guest list, and it was a 60-person wedding.
How do you get to that number?
On the island we met. Well, we had a
cute.
Well, we had a 300. The night before it was a 300 party.
True,
so I'm
true.
saying for the
Yeah.
parents.
Yeah.
And then it was like the actual wedding was 60 people, just very meaningful to us. It didn't matter if it was family, non-family. There was no politics, no anything involved other than love. Like that's how we selected the people that were
That's
there.
not beautiful.
Yeah, so I think
good.
that we would
Yeah.
probably use the same concept.
Same concept,
Probably
different
there
placement.
would be different people or additional people that we would want to invite after being 10 years together.
Of course,
People
yeah.
have come into our life.
And it flew.
Flew by.
It really did. Oh my
My
God.
God.
But I think,
It's so
But do
crazy.
you agree, Matthew? I think that we would follow the same concept. I think for us, being with people that are truly special and that
Meaningful.
meaningful.
You will have
to-
another meaningful
correct,
day.
A meaningful day.
Maybe now we would choose a location that we sort of discovered together versus like just a place that's either Louisa's
But you're
or
so booked. So like how many weddings are you doing right now per year? Because you're always booked. You're
We're always
out
running.
somewhere.
I know.
We only do 10 to 12 projects in the year.
Yeah. But
Most are weddings. So
Yeah.
8 to 10 are weddings, and then we leave a
Like
couple of
big birthday parties.
big birthday
or,
parties
yeah.
for clients.
Or anniversaries.
Or anniversaries or stuff like that. But the thing is, they're all multi-day events.
Yep.
So they tend to be 3 to 4 day weddings, which essentially means 36 to 40 events in the year. Like if
you
you
look at
add
it
the
that
welcome
way. So $40
party,
million?
the rehearsal dinner,
Exactly.
the rehearsal dinner, the bum 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 bum.
You sound so humble. We only take 12 projects. Okay, but
And-
now you added the birthdays.
and-
Great,
Add the
okay.
birthdays in there.
And,
The milestone birthdays.
Yeah, and also remember, Lucy, each of these projects, since
Yeah.
we do so much international,
Yeah.
each require 2 to 3 site visits. So that's why we're
Of
always
course,
traveling.
yes,
We
always
have
Oh, to
traveling.
do the pre-work.
So the
and, yeah,
pre-work is a
like
ton.
discovering
a ton
and,
of,
yeah.
a ton of work.
dreaming and all that.
Yeah, it's fun.
So
is
how would
fun.
you define self-love?
Also
Because I'm a
hard.
true believer that you have to self-love yourself
So true.
before loving someone else.
You're
I mean,
right.
I think you're right.
That's probably why we were able to connect, because I think we had both reached places in our lives where we were starting to see that and understand it, because I didn't before. It took me some time to understand what that means. And I think it was, for me, self-love is about recognizing what makes you you, what makes you special, and celebrating that, because I went for so many years of ignoring that or pushing it away, the things that make Matthew special or make you unique in this crazy world of so many people and so many things. And just remembering that like that can be expressed however it needs to be expressed, and you just have to give it a space and platform to do it, but learning to celebrate that and not sort of hide behind it, because I think I would often like find ways to not embrace what makes me special and my talents, and just kind of like shy away from it, or hide from it. And
I agree.
yeah.
I agree with that. And that I think I expressed a little bit of that at the beginning
You did,
when I
yes.
mentioned, I found my way into the weddings and events world,
Yep.
which had always been that passion I had.
Through your inspiration, you found yourself,
through
right?
culinary arts,
Arts,
which
yes.
through culinary arts, which I also love, right? And it's such a
And
big
you're really
part
good at, yeah.
of who I am.
Yeah.
But it was like, I found my way of being true to myself, right? And I think that it's
Yeah.
important, as Matthew mentioned, finding that true Luis and embracing it and celebrating every day.
Which is such an interesting also journey that you have lived, because you threw yourself into that without knowing what to expect.
Exactly.
Correct.
And it was almost like the fear of the unknown with what you have to cohabitate back in Colombia at the time,
Yeah.
Yep.
right? But you threw yourself there, and through your art, through that passion,
Yeah.
came, this boundless journey now of creating weddings everywhere, finding your partner,
Exactly.
making it possible that work together is possible.
Totally.
possible.
It's actually one of the things that I'm going to say this and I mean it, it's one of the things that we as a couple enjoy doing the most.
The most.
So,
True.
and it's because we
true.
also have, you know, the way we work, we complement each other. Like, and
Yeah.
we've respected each of our perspectives since the beginning. So
Mm-hmm.
even though I'm a very creative person, the creative director of the company is Matthew. I mean, he's the designer and he's the one who's brought all the artistic background, like, to the.
Yeah, he's a
you know,
dreamer.
he's the
He's the
dreamer.
artist.
That's what
and
I
And I
enjoy.
recognize
Yeah, that's
that.
what I love.
So
Yeah.
that's amazing. And yes,
Yeah.
I throw out very cool ideas,
You
and
have
very
amazing
interesting,
ideas.
amazing
Yeah.
ideas, and a great eye for aesthetics. But at the end, he's, you know, he's the one with the knowledge and the experience in the design aspect of things. And on the flip side, you know,
You're the handler.
he also respects
Yes, I
you know,
respect
the
your-
background that I have in hospitality.
your mind for these things.
and,
Right, yes.
You know, so it's a good.
But also, you have a
balance.
good mind for bringing structure to things, like, which I really respect. Yeah. Sometimes being a more artistic mind, like, it's harder to find the structure to
Of course.
give to these ideas. So yeah, it's a good balance.
Yeah, it's a good balance.
And all in
Yeah.
all, it's so beautiful.
Thank you.
So finding love through inspiration, through
Yes.
your art, right? Your culinary background,
Exactly.
your dreams, wedding background, and together creating Robbins Otoya. Love is possible, and first love at first sight can be true. Thank you for joining us at Conversation Loves.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you,
for
Lucy.
having us.